In a quiet corner of Africa, where the golden plains stretch endlessly and the wind carries the songs of the earth, two villages stood side by side. One village was humble, with homes made of mud and thatch, and the other was wealthy, with sturdy wooden houses and carefully tended fields. Though separated by only a narrow river, the two worlds could not have been more different. In the modest village lived a boy named Kofi. His hands were rough from helping his family in the fields, and his feet were calloused from running barefoot over stones and dirt. His clothes were old and patched, yet his eyes sparkled with curiosity and an insatiable longing for life. Kofi had seen hunger gnaw at his family, illness sweep through neighbors, and storms destroy crops. Yet he had also known moments of joy, the laughter of his siblings, the warmth of a fire on cold nights, the pride of a hard day's work rewarded with a small harvest. Across the river lived Taye, the son of the wealthy village chief. Taye's life was full of comforts, fine clothes, plentiful food, and toys that Kofi had only ever dreamed of. Taye's family owned large fields, cattle, and granaries overflowing with grain. But beneath the surface, Taye often felt lonely. Surrounded by servants and distant relatives, he sometimes wondered if anyone truly saw him, if anyone truly understood the boy inside the wealth. One day, as Kofi skipped stones along the riverbank, Taye wandered nearby, attempting to do the same. Their eyes met, and in that instant, an unspoken understanding passed between them. Neither spoke at first, but something fragile had been formed: curiosity, recognition, and a hint of friendship. At first, they were cautious. Kofi worried that Taye's world was too different, that he might be judged for being poor. Taye worried that Kofi could not understand the privileges he had been born into. But day after day, they returned to the riverbank, sharing stories. Kofi spoke of nights spent watching the stars while tending cattle, of the changing seasons and lessons learned from the earth. Taye spoke of books he read by candlelight, distant cities he dreamed of visiting, and ideas that his family's wealth allowed him to explore. They began to teach each other. Kofi showed Taye how to track animals, climb trees, and predict the weather from the clouds and wind. Taye taught Kofi to read maps, write letters, and imagine life beyond the fields they both knew so well. In their friendship, each boy discovered a world the other had lived in, learning and growing together. But the world around them was not always kind. Villagers whispered. "Why is a boy from poverty speaking with the chief's son?" some asked. Rumors spread, sowing doubt and mistrust. Still, Kofi and Taye continued to meet. Their laughter became a shield, and their bond a quiet rebellion against the rigid boundaries of their villages. One dry season, the skies withheld rain. The fields of Kofi's village withered, and hunger gnawed at the stomachs of his people. The river grew shallow, and livestock grew weak. Taye, seeing his friends suffering, could not remain indifferent. He went to his family, urging them to send grain, food, and medicine. Slowly, help arrived, carried across the river. Kofi's family wept, but the boys met at the water's edge, not speaking, simply holding hands and letting their hearts communicate what words could not. The drought passed, but the lessons of it remained. Kofi learned that wealth could be a tool for compassion, and Taye learned that true richness was measured in empathy, courage, and loyalty. Together, they discovered that friendship could bridge the deepest divides. As seasons turned to years, their friendship endured. They celebrated festivals together, ran through the fields laughing, and faced challenges as one. Kofi taught Taye to value simplicity, patience, and hard work. Taye taught Kofi to dream boldly, imagine possibilities, and plan for the future. Their differences became their strengths. But life's trials did not end there. One year, a terrible fire swept through Kofi's village, consuming homes and food stores. Families were left with nothing. The flames reached the riverbank, and despair threatened to swallow everyone. Taye and his family rushed to help, bringing blankets, food, and supplies. They worked side by side, extinguishing flames where they could, and comforting those who had lost everything. Kofi realized that Taye's friendship was more than companionship, it was a lifeline. a promise that no matter the darkness, he would not face it alone. Through years of struggle, laughter, and shared discovery, Kofi and Taye grew into young men. Kofi became strong, resilient, and wise, carrying the lessons of the land and his people. Taye became thoughtful and humble, using his privileges to help those around him. Together, they had bridged the gap between wealth and poverty, showing that compassion and understanding could overcome social divides. One evening, as the sun dipped low and the plains were bathed in gold, the two friends sat on the riverbank. The air was warm, the water reflected the sky, and for a moment, the world seemed still. Kofi spoke first, voice soft but steady. "I never imagined life could be like this, Taye. I never imagined I could have a friend who sees me for who I am, not for what I have, or what I don't have." Taye looked at him, eyes glistening with emotion. "And I never imagined that wealth could mean so little without someone to share it with. You've shown me how to see what really matters." A gentle silence fell, broken only by the rustle of reeds and the calls of distant birds. They laughed quietly, not out of humor, but out of relief that they had found something more valuable than riches, more enduring than land, more meaningful than possessions. They had found friendship. Years would pass, and life would continue to test them. They would face new hardships, storms, loss, and challenges that no child could foresee. Yet, the bond forged at the riverbank would never break. It was a bond built on trust, empathy, and the courage to embrace each other's worlds. Eventually, both villages began to see the change their friendship had inspired. Neighboring families witnessed the boys working together, learning from each other, and helping one another in times of need. Slowly, the walls of prejudice and suspicion began to crumble. The villages started cooperating, sharing resources, teaching each other, and protecting the land together. A new chapter of unity began, born from the simple courage of two boys who refused to let the divisions around them define their hearts. In the quiet of evening, when the sky glows with the last rays of the sun, the story of Kofi and Taye is remembered. It is told not as a story of wealth or poverty, nor of privilege or struggle alone, but as a story of connection, courage, and compassion. It is a story that reminds all who hear it that true friendship can bridge any divide, heal any wound, and light even the darkest paths. And as the night falls over the African plains, Kofi and Taye sit together by the river once more, older now, their hair touched with gray, their faces marked by time and experience. They look at each other and smile, not just as friends, but as brothers in spirit. Around them, the villages rest in peace, children play freely, and the land breathes with hope. In that moment, as the stars twinkle overhead and the river reflects the infinite sky, it is clear that what they built together was more than friendship. It was a legacy, a testament to love, understanding, and the unbreakable bond of two hearts that refuse to be divided by circumstance. And in that bond, the world seems a little brighter, a little kinder, and full of endless possibility.